Good evening, everybody, and welcome to August Editing. I've had a lot of requests for city images in the street and also balloon images, so I figured I would combine them together. This was shot with a 70 to 200 2.8. My shutter speed is 320, and my ISO is 2000. The first thing I'm going to do when I start working on this image is I'm going to bring my highlights down a little bit. I'm also going to come down to my luminance slider, and I'm going to push my luminance up for a little bit of noise reduction, and I'm going to go to about 30. I'm also going to come over to my temperature slider, and I am going to increase the temperature to about 5,500 just to warm this up a little bit. This is the blue hour in the city, so I like the blue tones, but I don't want it really to look icicle-like. So I'm just going to now take this into Photoshop. Now I always say that city images are amongst the easiest to edit. You're working with some really fantastic conditions, especially before the street lights come on. Once they come on, you can tend to get some color casts, but right before they come on, you have this nice gray background here on the sidewalk, and also the buildings featuring really filtered light out, which is great. Okay, the first thing that I'm going to do when I come into this image is I am going to do a curves adjustment layer, and I am going to darken up my background, which really is what brings the color out in the city. But as you can see, this is still super, super blue. I'm going to come in with my black large brush, and I am going to bring that light right back on to the center right there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Layer, New Fill Layer, Solid Color, and I am going to click a nice warm peach tone. Go a little bit peachier. I'm going to click OK. I am going to change my mode to Soft Light. I'm going to click this on, and I'm going to click it off. You see what a huge difference it makes. Now, I don't want to wash that color over my entire image. That's what I say when we use actions, what they look like. So I'm going to have to do some masking here. I'm going to take it down to about 60%. I'm going to click on my layer mask, and I am going to take that off my ground. I'm going to take it off of his pants. I'm going to take it off of her dress. Luckily, they're wearing blue, so the masking is easy. I'm going to come in and take it off of right here. And then I am going to reduce the opacity of my brush to 20, and I am going to come in and I'm going to take a little bit of that off of the center. I'm going to make my brush smaller, and I'm going to take a little bit more off of their faces, and especially their hair, because it sort of made that color fill layer, made their hair really blend in. Okay. Now I don't really want a blue ground either, so I'm going to come in and I'm going to do another curves adjustment where I'm going to lift up the midtones. I am going to click over to my blue channel. I'm going to pull some yellow into there, which is going to neutralize it and make it look definitely more like a gray street. I'm going to invert that, and I am going to come in and I am going to mask that over the pavement. And what's going to happen here when I do this also is, and we're going to have to do a little bit more careful masking here, it's going to make the blue in their clothes pop out much more than if the ground was blue. So we're just going to mask this in over here. We don't want to leave a blue halo around him. And the edge should be okay. Yep. So we're just going to... And you always want to, I'm just going to reverse this just to bring the blue back to the bottom right here. You always want to really zoom in here and make sure that you're lines are nice and clear. Okay, I'm now going to click over into my green channel, and I'm going to add a tiny bit of magenta into the gray right there. So we did a dark blue ground, and now we have a neutralized gray ground, which makes all the other colors pop off. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I am going to do a color balance adjustment, and I'm going to add some green into here and a little bit of blue. And I am going to invert that, and I'm going to come in and I am going to mask that over my trees that took on that color fill layer. Okay, I'm going to do a color balance layer now where I'm going to add a little bit of red into here. And I am going to invert that. And I am going to stamp that over her cheek and over his cheek. And I am going to bring down the opacity. I don't want them to look like clowns. Just want to see how far down I need to go. I am now going to come in and I am going to do another color balance layer where I'm going to add some more blue into here, and I am going to invert that, and I am going to come in and I am going to paint that over the balloon. Make it really pop out. I am going to paint over her dress as well to match that blue tone. His jacket already matches it. Okay, I'm going to bring down the opacity. Get that blend a little bit better. I am now going to come in and I am going to do a levels adjustment. And I am going to do that in my red channel. And I'm going to add about 10 into here. And that is the look that I like. I love that reddish magenta look. But I am going to take it off of the trees because I don't like it over the greens. I am now going to do another curves adjustment layer where I am going to darken this background up. I'm going to do another curves adjustment layer where I'm going to darken my background up, and I am going to lift up my blacks. I am going to come in with my black brush. I'm going to come over to my background layer. I'm going to select my sponge tool. My mode is saturate and my flow is 100%. And I am going to come in and I am going to brighten up any elements in the background that I want. I love the sponge tool in the city. Okay, and I am finished. We started here and we ended here. Again, we started here and we ended here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me.